It's not about me, it's about what these people are doing. The injustice. I can do something about that. That's why I'm here.
That's one of several people who reached out to us claiming they were charged for an ambulance service they never received. In each case, the bill came from American Medical Response, or AMR. The man you just saw says he fought the charges, which were eventually dropped, but you're about to meet a couple that's still fighting, and they asked the 13 Help team to join the fight.
We went to Great Lakes Chinese on 44th Street in Wyoming.
It started as a lunch date for Mike and Mabel Haga of Grand Rapids.
Mike sat down and all of a sudden he said, "I don't feel so good."
But things quickly took a turn for the worse.
And he just kind of leaned over, put his head in his hands, and he had no strength whatsoever, very pale, sweaty, and couldn't even stand up. He was so weak. So I said, "I'm calling 911.
Mabel says it took 37 minutes for paramedics to arrive on scene.
Had it been a heart attack, he probably would have passed away.
The paramedics tested his vitals.
He said, "Well, your blood pressure is low,"
and recommended he seek further medical attention.
They said, "Okay, we'd like to take you to the hospital."
But Mike declined, saying by this point he was feeling better.
And then the ambulance attendant said to me, "You probably won't get charged because we're not taking you, we're not transporting you."
That was May 5th, but then in mid-June, the Hagas received a bill from AMR.
Okay, they're asking $547.77. I called customer service and she said, "Well, let me check into this." Then she came back and said, "We're sending this to the review team, whatever." She said, "Just throw that bill away."
Just what you wanted to hear.
I kept it though. Then I got another bill. Then I called them again.
This time, he says, he was transferred to someone in Arizona, then California, and eventually the Philippines.
She couldn't even understand what you were saying.
Then I called twice since then. No response.
The Hagas say they don't understand what they're being asked to pay for. Mike was only in the ambulance for a few minutes and he was never transported anywhere. And the bill that was sent is vague, just stating that he owes money for something not covered by insurance. Do you think this is a scam?
Yeah, I do. Well, it's funny because I had been diagnosed with breast cancer in 2017, and I did radiation, chemo, all of that, surgery, everything. Out of all of that, I never paid a penny. He steps in an ambulance and he has to pay $540-some. I mean, come on. I know my insurance is good, but this is just crazy.
I think there's abuse.
John Parker of Wyoming says he also got a questionable bill from AMR Ambulance Service shortly after his wife died by suicide.
Never seen an ambulance. Wasn't offered. It parked out in front of my house, apparently. And then a month later, I get a bill for $1,750. So I called the main office in Georgia of ANR, and I said, "What is this $1,750? It was a crime scene. They weren't allowed in here. I know they didn't offer any assistance." And she says, "Well, did she have an estate?"
Parker, who served in Vietnam,
2nd 75th Ranger Battalion,
says he does not think this was an isolated incident. He thinks ambulance companies are showing up at the scene of a suicide.
They don't even have to work.
Billing the grieving family.
When you're in the throes of grief, you're not thinking sensibly.
Then taking money from the estate if the bill is never paid.
And that's sad. In a time when your heart's broken and you lost somebody you love, there's people out there that will pick the flesh from your drying bones. And it just happens to be the people you think are going to save you.
We reached out to AMR, who declined an on-camera interview, but they did send us a statement saying, in part, our cost is driven by the need to maintain a staff of highly trained and experienced paramedics and EMTs who are in a high state of readiness. Also reflected in our charges are the costs of providing critical pre-hospital health care, capital equipment costs such as vehicles and medical equipment, fleet maintenance, and extensive training for our first responders, end quote. After doing some research, we found multiple articles online where people all over the country have dealt with similar circumstances, being billed by ambulance companies that showed up for a medical emergency but didn't actually do anything. So it would appear this is a problem nationwide. We will stay with this story and let you know when there's an update. If you need help with something, call the help team at 616-559-1313 or email help@13onyourside.com.